My name is Tom. I've worked at McDonald's for a pretty long time. It was the only normal option that I had in our tiny little town. Well, at least it was normal. Until that one night shift. That night, I was set to the McDrive stance. My manager likes to stick me there, though I find it pretty comforting. The job is basically to sit on a chair next to the intercom, get the order from the customer outside, make it, and serve it to the customers through the reception window. It's much better than working at the counter with all these extra ketchup and mayonnaise requests, and much, much better than cleaning the whole store. So I don't have complaints. The time was 11 p.m. Soon my shift would be over. I was leaning on the windowsill, playing on my phone. Our branch is pretty isolated from town, so we don't have many people coming by, especially during these hours. Suddenly, the intercom bell rang. That means that someone is outside with his car and wants to make an order. I opened my mic and said, "McDonald's, Tom speaking. What would you like to order?" From the other side, I could hear the voice of a tired middle-aged man. "Hey, yes. Give me 1 large fry and 1 large Coke." "No problem, sir. It's $12. "And your name is?" "Bob," he said. "Okay, Bob. Please move forward with your car to the reception window and wait." That one was a piece of cake. I rushed to the kitchen, grabbing the fries that were ready in advance and pouring his large Coca-Cola from the machine. As I stepped towards the window, I saw a police car, and in the driver's seat, there was a fat cop who was waiting for his healthy midnight meal. He looked exhausted. "Tough night?" I asked to break the ice. He sighed. "Yeah, just getting back from a harsh scene. Terrible car accident." "Oh God, were there any fatalities?" As a response, he placed his fat fingers and slid them onto his neck. I got the meaning. He paid me. I handed him his fatty bag, and he drove away. You know, one of the interesting things about working at McDrive is that I get to hear a bunch of different stories from a variety of people. One time, a cop, another time a lawyer, and once in a while it's a drunk homeless guy who thinks that the window is the main cash register and begins to yell at us when we try to explain to him that this window is for cars only. The branch returned to its empty and quiet state. I was playing on my phone, waiting for the shift to be over. After a few minutes, the intercom rang again. "McDonald's, Tom speaking. What would you like to order?" But there was no response from the other side of the line. Just a weird white noise. It's odd. Hello? How can I help you?" But the white noise was still there. No response. This was weird, I told myself. Maybe the microphone had stopped working. But a moment before I got out from the store to go check up on it, I heard a low voice coming from the intercom. Hello, a man's voice said from the other side of the line. Hey, good evening, I responded. My family and I like to place an order, please. Okay, what would you like? After a few moments of silence, the man spoke. Me and my wife will have a double Big Mac meal, and fries and a Coke, and 2 Happy Meals for our 2 little ones. I was writing down the order and said, okay, it's $40. What's the name? Just write the Goldberg family, he said. Okay, please move forward with your car to the reception window and wait for the order to be ready. Back to the kitchen I went. I turned on the oil heater and poured some frozen fries into it. When everything was ready, I put it all in a large carton bag and stepped towards the window. When I got there, I poked my head outside the window and saw an old car slowly moving towards me. The model was white, a Honda Civic, with a lot of tin on it. It looked like they didn't even bother to take it to the garage or something. But who am I to judge other people? I work at the most doubtful place that exists. The car stopped near the window, and the father rolled down the car's window. Hey, Goldbergs are here. He smiles. Hey, I'm Tom. He kept staring at me with his smile without saying a word. I could hear the crickets from the embarrassing silence. Okay, it's $40, please, I said to break the silence. Right, he said, and opened his wallet, searching for money. As he continued to search for the money, one of the 2 kids suddenly yells, Dad, I'm hungry. And then his younger sister yells too. Yes, Daddy, bring the food. Their mother quickly turned her head to them and said, Here, in a moment you'll have your food. The dad looked at me with a shameful look and apologized. Sorry for this. We are starving to death. We had one hell of a ride. All good, I smiled to him, while he continued to look for his lost money in his wallet. I left their order on the inside floor under the window until they paid. Suddenly, I started to smell this awful smell of something burning. Like something is burning really strong. I turned to the family. I'm sorry. I have to go check something. Before they replied, I was already running to the kitchen, ready to see the damage I did. God, I probably forgot to turn off the oil heater. But as I got there was no longer a smell. Nothing was even burning, and the kitchen looked normal as always. That was weird. After a moment, I remembered that I had to get back to the reception window to complete the payment and the delivery to the family of their order. But as I returned to the window, the Goldbergs were no longer there. Their bags were still on the floor, and they didn't leave the cash for it. I poked my head outside the window, and there was no sign of them, or their old rusty car. A few moments later, after my shift was over, as I was driving home, I thought to myself, why the hell did they leave without taking their meals? If they were starving? And also, where did that weird smell come from? In the morning, after I arrived at my morning shift, again in the McDrive position, as I stepped inside the branch's main entrance, I saw all the staff and my manager gathered around the small TV screen. It was a news broadcast. It's rare that something happens in our little sleepy town, so it must be something serious that occurred. The broadcast began. The anchor's face was serious, and with a dramatic sound to her voice, she said, "A tragic car accident had taken the life of a whole family." Oh God, I was thinking to myself. It must have been the accident that the policeman was talking about earlier, last night. But then, they showed video footage of the event as it was being played out on the screen. In the video, there were a lot of emergency vehicles surrounding a vehicle that was on fire. And that vehicle was white. A Honda Civic with a lot of tin on it. Just like the Goldbergs one. As I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on, the anchor continued. The Goldberg family were on their way from a long road trip, and all they wanted to do was stop at a close McDonald's just around the corner. But a few moments beforehand, their car suddenly deteriorated on the side of the road, and the result was fatal. The vehicle crashed into an electrical pole that was at the corner. Because of their high speed, the pole collapsed on the car and blew it up. The car caught fire, leaving the father, mother, and their 2 children to burn to death. The report ended. I stared at the TV screen. I still couldn't believe what I just heard. I mumbled to myself, "What the hell? They died? It can't be true. I saw them alive yesterday. They did make it to McDonald's. I took their order from them. And, suddenly, before I could finish my thought, the intercom bell rang. It took me a few seconds to realize, until it rang again. "Tom," my manager exclaimed at me. "What are you waiting for?" "There are customers outside, answer them." With my hand shaking and my heart beating fast as hell, I opened up the microphone and said, "McDonald's, Tom speaking. What would you like to order?" But then, I heard a voice. A voice I had heard before. It was the dad. "We didn't take our meal last night. Can you bring us the food? We are so hungry."